All right, folks, I think it's time to get the meeting started. We're just a couple of minutes late. Roll call, please.
Mr. Shilo.
Here.
Mr. Bakley. Mr. Dixon.
Here.
Mr. Artisan.
Here.
Mr. Carter.
Here.
Mr. Lewis.
Here.
Mr. Postles.
Here.
Ms. Smith. Here. Okay, we have a quorum.
We have a new member here this morning, Mr. Todd Lewis.
Good morning.
You want to say anything before we go on, or introduce yourself at all?
I'll give you just a brief background so you know where I'm coming from, but I'm almost a lifelong resident of Blair County. We moved here when I was 6, but my dad was born in Tyrone, and grew up in Tyrone, spent most of my years there, more recently the last 15 years in Sinking Valley, and I'm one of the owners of Shoe Fly Stores, also a minority partner of American Eagle Paper Mills, and we own a dairy farm as well, raise some beef cattle, so hopefully that brings a perspective that'll help round out what we do here. So.
All right, thank you.
It's very much needed.
We have a need to appoint a new board secretary due to an absence of chairman. I come up with chairman, and so Larry, would you be pardon? Or Nick? Nick, would you be interested?
Yeah.
This is just an appointment. Okay, very good. Public comment. Do we have any public comment?
Well, I do.
Nope.
And this is kind of the last time, when it came up this time, I turned into December, was not reappointed. And so, I guess I was thanking Amy for that in some ways, but the bottom line is that I've been advocating for years that maybe we needed a youth movement. I just didn't think it was going to start with me. The reason I came today, I just wanted to personally thank, rather than sending a note, I wanted to thank the staff, Dave, Mackenzie, Sherry, Wes, Rhonda, everybody for all the support and all the help over the years. It's been great. I think we've got a good staff. I think we're short staffed, but that's neither here nor there. And then I also want to thank the board members for all your help and support over the years. You've been a very good board. When I look at what we have now and the membership we have, I think the county should realize that we have a very, very talented board here. This board has a lot to offer. I particularly want to thank Herb and Jim for all their support over the years and their help with the things we've been doing. Having said that, I just wanted to point out Dave has been very good, and I appreciate all his help and concerns and everything that's going on. I'm glad to see him back up and moving around. Amy, I want to thank you, but the board, have you thank the commission for the support over the years. And the last one I probably want to thank is I want to thank Walt there, the press. Walt, the press has covered about the best you can say about any press coverage from anybody, any representatives, that's fair and it's accurate. And that has been Walt right down the line. And I'm very, very thankful for that. I really can't, but if I say it, you have to print it, you can do it. But if I've been, and I think we've all been in meetings where you went and read the paper the next day and you wondered if you were at the same meeting. So,
Yeah.
Again, that's all I had. I wanted to thank everybody for all your support and all your help. I wish you the best. I think you've got the board moving in the right direction. I hope that will continue. So, thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
I'd like to say something. Mr. Hall, thank you for your service over the years. It's been a pleasure to be on the board with you. When I first started on the board, like others, you have no idea what you're in for, but like you said, there's a lot of great professionals on this board, and I don't really think everyone in the county is aware of that. And we do a lot for the people in Blair County, and a lot of programs that Dave and his office starts with grant money, everything that you oversee. So we're really thankful that you spent 30 years on this board. And thank you for your professionalism to Blair County.
Anybody else? I have to apologize. I got new spectacles.
Actually, there
and,
was,
I can't see with them very well. I missed the approval.
there was
of the
another
minutes.
comment.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
It's all right, it's fine. I just wanted to support the Borough Public Works building. For years, Borough maintenance staff has operated out of what was little more than a shed. And for years, they've been trying to find a way to finance a new building for our workers. And the COVID money was originally earmarked for our stormwater project in Gaysport. But in November, I guess, bids came in for it and they were extremely favorable. And that allowed us to free up the COVID money. And borough staff did a miracle to get this put together by December, the deadline. And we'd hate to give back the COVID money, especially since we really do. Our maintenance staff really deserves a better place to work out of. Thank you.
Yeah, that's very important. I know a lot of the boroughs, small towns are they're hurting bad because they don't have much to work out of. And you gotta have the building and you gotta have the equipment in order to get the job done. The bad part about that is inadequate buildings and services like that. People get hurt easy too. I'm glad you're able to make that happen. Yeah, as I was saying, I apologize, I missed the approval of minutes. Need a motion to approve the minutes if everybody has.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor and seconded. If there are no additions or corrections, we will ask for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Commissioner liaisons form.
Good morning, everybody. It's good to see you all. I'm sure that you're aware of the county's intention to go ahead and actually go through and build a prison. You probably read about it in the paper last week. We're really excited not to be spending so much money, but to be actually taking the steps that are necessary to make this project happen. And obviously, we'll be coming to you folks and asking for your support as well. We see this particular board is very focused on filling in the gaps and making sure that things that have been neglected for years and years are taken care of so that Blair County can successfully move into the future. And this is a major project that we really long overdue that we're very focused on making sure that we do it. We have a good engineering firm, Trans Systems, who has a lot of experience with building prisons, so we expect a really good outcome. We have lots of different options for how to arrange it. So there'll be a lot of upcoming information on that. If any of you guys have any questions about it, you can ask me here or call me later or whatever you want to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Mackenzie.
Okay, so number 7 on your agenda is the Hollidaysburg Borough Public Works Building that's proposed along Loop Road. The proposed development is for a 2,400 square foot building to include 2 garage bays, an office space, restroom, and storage and utility space. This is the existing property here. This is I believe, a storage building. This is going to be the proposed site. The demolition plan includes removal of this pavement here, removal of any existing landscaping, and this is the proposal for the building. These development reviews were reviewed by our third-party consultant, so I'm just reading the comments that were provided from our consultant. The proposed development will not alter the existing use of the property. As such, it will not impact the immediate or surrounding existing land use or transportation network. According to the project narrative, the amount of new impervious surface is small enough to exempt the project from the borough's stormwater management requirements. And also, according to the narrative, the project's designed to meet the requirements of the borough's floodplain management ordinance. The plan shows the proposed building to be elevated on graded fill. It indicates that although it exists within the 100-year floodplain, the elevation is 941.8 feet. The office floor elevation is going to be 943.3 feet, a foot and a half above the 100-year floodplain level as required by the borough's ordinance. I believe there were no additional comments on the proposal. The access to the property remains the same, and they are proposing one ADA accessible parking space with access sidewalks that are surrounding the front side of the building. But that is it for this property. It's a relatively straightforward proposal. The only concern was that it does exist within the floodplain. However, for the reasons I had mentioned, it being elevated above the required elevation as required in the floodplain management ordinance, it is consistent with our comprehensive plan. Any questions?
Yeah, what is that?
These lines here,
Yeah, what is that?
these look like existing service lines.
Looks like electric,
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me.
overhead electric line.
Oh, okay.
Good thing you can read it.
I didn't see the lines.
They start calling him Hawkeye.
I was gonna say, I could read that, but I can't read this in front of me.
Want to try one?
I left mine in the truck.
Might as well have. We need a motion. So, there's no questions, we need a motion on, Hollingsburg Borough Public Works Building.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and seconded. There are no additions or yeah, there are no questions. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved.
Okay. So, number 8 on your agenda is for the Blair Frito Solar Project. This is located along Frito Lane in Antis Township. The proposed development is for a principal solar energy system consisting of 3 solar arrays, associated driveways and electrical collection lines, fencing and signage. As I said, there's going to be 3 separate arrays. Each array will have 4,750 ground-mounted panels, up to 12 feet in height and generating 2 megawatts for a total of 6 megawatts of electricity. This is the existing site. This is an aerial view of the existing site. I'm actually going to get out of here and show it on Google Earth, if I can, so that we kind of can get a better idea of what the site looks like. Oh, it worked. Okay, so this is East Pleasant Valley Boulevard. This is Frito Lane here. That connects to Sandbank Road, and this is the existing property, not the area that's in the square, but the area that I had marked on this. Oh gosh, you can't even see it. The red area that's delineated here, that's the property. I wish I had a mouse to show you the elevation. Okay. This is the proposed solar plant or solar site. This is East Pleasant Valley Boulevard. So this here is Frito Lane and this is Sandbank Road, just so for your perspective. So what it looks like here, oh, I guess I can make it full screen. What it looks like here, it's gonna have one solar array in this area here, one solar array in this area here, and the third solar array is going to be located here. This building that's existing on the site is proposed to stay. This is, again, the proposed site. Let me read the comments from our, this is next to the, so this is Hawthorne. The connector to Frito Lane is Hawthorne Road, which is right next to the Belmead Motel. If that, actually I might be able to show you the street view for this because it's actually important. So the access to this site, this is the street view, Belmead Motel. This is the proposed access here. As you can see, this is a little bridge that is not going to be probably conducive to the trucks and traffic that it's going to take to support the development of this. That was a comment that was noted by our consultants as well. Let me just finish reading the comments. So the total, there's 3 separate solar arrays, interconnecting wire that's placed underground as much as possible. Generated electricity will be transferred to an existing First Energy Penelec infrastructure. The total size of the project parcel is 72 acres. The total area of disturbance is 37 acres. This does come to a total of almost 1 million square feet of impervious surface that is added to the site. The project parcel is currently mostly a wooded parcel, as you could see in the previous image. The aerial image shows a commercial industrial building and parking lot on less than 1 acre, or less than an acre at the southeast corner of the parcel. Again, this just describes the surrounding neighborhoods as well. Antis Township does have a saldo and wind and solar ordinance that is applicable to the project. A comprehensive set of solar regulations were amended into the wind and solar ordinance in 2024, which included requirements to locate solar facilities in non-residential areas to prevent glare and concentrated solar radiation, avoid prime agricultural soils and steep slopes, and provide security via perimeter fencing, an emergency response plan, and the appropriate warning signs, as well as screening from adjoining residential areas, adequate access roads, and to meet all stormwater management requirements, minimize outdoor lighting, and provide financial security for the decommissioning of the project. All of this was included in the proposal. The Alleghenies Head Comprehensive Plan does not directly address solar power or development projects for solar power. However, the plan indirectly addresses the Frito Solar Project in 2 ways. The plan identifies concerns about business losses and the need for dynamic business environment. The Frito Solar Project will contribute to the area's economy by its construction and its added source of energy. The plan gives priority to natural assets as an attraction for population and investment. However, the Frito Solar Project will also disturb 37 acres of mostly wooded area. However, it is comparatively small, although not identified as significant, and being replaced by an environmentally friendly source of energy. The additional comments that were given by our consultants were that the applicant requested a waiver of the provision prohibiting, what is that? Personal solar, the solar system these solar electric systems from being located on prime agricultural soils. Because this is the existing property, these small portions of green here are considered prime ag soils, so they requested an exemption for that. And information provided to Blair Planning does not fully describe the site's access. As I had mentioned previously, plan drawings show proposed driveways connecting Frito Lane, which connects to Sandbank Road in the west of Pleasant Valley Boulevard to the east. Frito Lane is indicated as a private lane. There is no indication of who owns or maintains the lane, who has the right of access to use it. Plan drawings do not indicate the adequacy of existing construction. As I said, that bridge that takes you over the stream, over Sandy Run. It is part gravel and part paved for traffic accessing the solar array sites. There is no indication of level of traffic use during or post-construction, and what impacts there may be on Sandbank Road and East Pleasant Valley Boulevard. So the township should be sure to obtain such information and assurances that Frito Lane and access points to Sandbank Road and East Pleasant Valley Boulevard are adequate for anticipated traffic. That's all I have for Blair Frito. Do we have any questions?
Anybody have any? Go ahead.
I do. I'm sorry, but
No,
I
don't.
do, because I think about this.
What we're here for.
The bridge that they're talking about, does it belong to Annis Township, or is it, do we know?
That was not indicated in the plan, and I am not sure if that bridge, it's over Sandy, do we know, or do you happen to know, Wes, over Sandy Run, Hawthorne Road, over Sandy Run at East Pleasant Valley Boulevard? Not offhand. I'm not sure who owns that. We made comments pertaining to the upkeep of the road and the existing infrastructure, which is about all we can really do is make a comment for it.
I just wondered if they were addressing it in any way. If it's a township bridge or a county bridge, as opposed to a PennDOT bridge, that puts a lot of pressure ultimately on the municipalities for repairs and upkeep. And I can attest to that because we're just replacing bridges all over the place as needed.
I will double check the status of that bridge. I'm not
Are you
sure.
questioning the weight limit for the bridge?
We should
Well,
be.
the weight and the condition too, I mean, which are obviously related. Yeah. It's just,
I'm familiar with that area, and that is a private road, which it
Oh,
would
okay.
not be property of anyone,
okay,
municipality-wise. And
So it's
that
not-
bridge is basically for residential crossings. If they run heavy equipment over there, I would feel sure that it would damage
Concrete
it.
trucks going in.
I wouldn't, so, but it is a privately owned road.
It's considered a private drive.
Yeah, so this road is
Okay.
considered a private road and it serves,
So technically, the adjoining property owners that
it serves
utilize
these
it
5 houses
would
here.
be responsible for the maintenance and upkeep of it, and snow removal and all that.
Okay.
But being that that is now gonna be turned into a public entity, it may behoove the developers to acquire and do a deed of dedication to Annis Township, so that they take over the maintenance. But what that would mean is that the developer would have to bring that up to a PennDOT standard, and
Exactly.
including the bridge.
That's right.
During the construction, there'll be concrete trucks probably going in
And
there.
those concrete trucks are quite heavy, and I don't know that that has a weight
I don't, yeah.
rating on it.
Well, if
I'm
it's
not
private,
familiar with it,
probably
but-
not.
No.
PennDOT wouldn't be inspecting it, no.
I mean, probably the heaviest thing that probably went across that bridge would be a delivery truck, parcels and stuff.
You're looking at possibly 80,000 pounds with a 11 yard.
Oh, yeah, you figure those tractors and trailers going through there, that's a lot of weight, even empty,
Yeah.
they're a lot of weight.
Excavators.
Now, there is an additional access
Well,
point
bring it in
here, from, what was that? Sawmill?
Sandbank.
Sandbank Road. There is an additional access point there. However, this is indicated as in the plan, that was indicated as the primary access.
Mackenzie, where on that map is all the stormwater?
That would
along
be
this?
That's the other
Huh?
question.
1 million
Yes.
square feet of impervious area?
They have a plan.
Just following the guidelines that are in the stormwater management manual, you can't have a loading ratio greater than 8:1 for 37 acres, which means every 8 acres, you've gotta have an acre of stormwater treatment.
I do not have I didn't review this for the record, and
Well,
I don't have the
understand that, but I'm just
I don't
saying,
have the stormwater
they have most
information.
of the property ate up with solar panels, and I don't see anything on here that has anything to do with stormwater, and it obviously is not flat. So where's the water gonna go from 1 million square feet of impervious area?
I mean, I'm assuming they did include a stormwater management plan with their proposal. That was also reviewed with this. I just don't have it in front of me.
I mean, 1 million square feet is 23 acres of impervious
Correct.
surface, and it's wooded, and it's gonna go to 23 acres of sorry.
It's gonna
No, I know they're taking. So when
They're gonna flood the stream.
right. So when the consultants reviewed it, that was the main concern that they had as well, is that they're taking away 37 acres of forested land, and that directly leads into Sandy Run, which is right here, and that would be
Don't you not have to get approval for remove? Don't you have to have a forester in to give approval for that?
No, you wouldn't
Not if you're
necessarily
building.
have to, but they
No?
would
Not
have
if
to have
you're
an
building.
NPDS permit, so they've gotta
Oh,
have
there it is.
somebody's gotta approve where the stormwater's going, even beyond the township, whether it's the county or
Or
whether
there
it's
is
an individual permit and is the DEP.
Okay. I knew one of them was involved.
Do we have any assurance from DEP that they've reviewed this or approved it?
Let me see. The applicant, it indicates the applicant has submitted additional, the NPDES permit to Blair County Conservation District, as well as to DEP, a building permit to Antis Township, and that's all that it indicates here. So it says that they submitted the appropriate information to DEP. Whether or not they've reviewed it is not indicated in what I have in front of me right now.
As a developer of a couple of landfills, they're gonna scarify a lot of acreage there, which is gonna mean major stormwater runoff control. And also, they're gonna remove a lot of vegetation. And whatever's gonna transpire there, it's gonna grow some kind of vegetation by itself. So that means they're gonna have to also routinely control that. So this is really a major project.
I'm still back on the road. He mentioned, how can you, I didn't hear any approval to use the road if it's private.
Well, you can't deny access. You know, it's the way the state law reads.
If it's a road or a lane.
Yeah.
So that's a road, not a lane.
It's a private road, lane, whatever, but you cannot deny access because technically they're an adjoining property owner of that.
If it's on the deed.
Are there any other solar projects like this in the entire county?
Yeah, so this exact developer, which is SR1 Captura Sage, they just proposed the solar array that we approved in December. It's the same company. That was the one in Green. Where was it?
Was it Mill Run
or Greenfield?
Greenwood,
It wasn't Greenfield Township.
Greenwood.
Greenwood.
By Sheets's.
Yeah, that's the one we just approved in December, and it's the same developer and the same, yeah, the same everything.
It has to be on the deed that you have to share, I'm sorry.
I can add additional comments to what the consultant already commented on. If there are things, if we have additional concerns that weren't mentioned in the letters that are in front of you, I would be happy to include the additional concerns that were addressed by the board, because I do think that those need to be addressed. Is there anything?
Well, the stormwater would definitely be an issue, and the adequate access into the site was going to be an issue, and how that's going to be handled. Because there are definitely limitations on either road.
From driving on that road, the East Pleasant Valley Boulevard, old 220, that road itself is subject to a fair amount of water laying on it when you get a heavy rain. And I think it would be a concern that if this project disturbs enough and enough water runs down to old 220, the roadway itself could be at risk, I would think.
Well, there's also an issue with Sandy Run, because Sandy Run runs down to Rutter's area. And if you remember correctly, Rutter's got in trouble with sediment going into the stream because that is a designated trout brewery stream. And this stream could, if sediment gets into that, could impact that. And maybe the trout limitations also continue up Sandy Run because of that. I don't know.
Is there any way to require that they contact what would it be, Fish and Game?
Yeah.
Yes, we can make that recommendation.
Well, they would have had to have done a PNDI search, which would have brought up if there is any wildlife or plants that could be adversely affected, in which they would have to report to each of the individual agencies. So, that's all part of an NPDS permit.
But doesn't that only, that's only within the limit of disturbance, isn't it? It's not.
It does, but it goes 300 feet outside of that limit. They have to look at least 300 feet outside of the limits of disturbance. But then it will also pick up anything that is in that area. Like, if you do anything in the Canoe Creek area, you get a bat. And you don't even have to be, you can be 10 miles away from Canoe Creek and get a bat hit on the PNDI.
Right.
So if there's anything in that stream or in that watershed, it would show up in that search, which they have to do as part of an NPDS permit.
Right.
And they would have to have stormwater because that's what the NPDS permit is for. They just don't show it on this plan, and I would love to know where they're planning on dealing with that much water.
I might have the stormwater plan if you would humor me and give me a second to pull it up. I might just have it.
They're gonna redirect the rain that would fall on that site to our reservoir so we can drink it.
Sure.
They have this new technology.
Sure. I should have worn boots. So where do we stand with this? We're going to pose some questions with this.
She's gonna look up the stormwater. Possibly.
It's trying. Okay.
Meanwhile, there's a Wi-Fi server in that hotel across the road. It's probably starting to smoke.
It's my phone.
Oh, it's your phone.
It's my phone. I'm trying. Oh no. Oh no. Okay.
Looking at those topographies on that, it presents kind of a different problem because you're going to have stormwater running in several different directions. Which that may require a couple different systems.
Yeah.
This would be a permanent nightmare.
Yeah.
Stormwater, just figuring the stormwater out.
I'm so sorry. I'm trying to be. This is just loading impossibly slow, so I don't want to. Okay, maybe. Okay.
Well, they got a lot of steps.
It's a lot of big, yeah, it's not a small development.
They got a lot of steps to go through.
Yeah. So
A lot
what
of
they
things
did
to
was
prove.
they showed the full development and then they broke it down into individual quadrants.
Just in terms of stormwater, this is similar to putting like Logan Town Center in.
Guys,
Or number 9 that's coming up.
Hmm.
Or number 9 that's coming up. It's almost as bad.
Yeah,
okay.
But just the education for me, since I'm new to this.
This is not what it usually looks like.
Well,
Trial by fire.
you know, that's okay. You know, the developer it would be required that we, that the planning commission approve this for this project to go forward. Is that correct? And in the meantime, they would need an approval from DEP and potentially an approval from Blair County Conservation District and Annis Township. Would there other agencies or boards,
Possibly
authorities?
PennDOT if they're overloading that intersection.
Possibly PennDOT. Okay, makes sense. Anybody else that is required to approve it?
I don't
So
think
this is
Not off
the-
my head. This is a rarest thing that's taken.
Ben,
And-
this is
and
the
so,
post-construction stormwater.
Like DEP is not gonna
Sandy
worry
Run.
about whether we approve it or not. They have their own scope.
Right.
The PennDOT's not gonna worry about whether we approve it or not. They've got their own scope.
Yeah, that's what the drawing says it is.
Blair County Conservation District is not necessarily gonna worry about whether we approve it or not, you know, so ultimately, is it our role to make sure that all of those check off before, or we just have to, we just
Yeah.
assume that they'll do their scopes and
Yes.
we do our scope, but what we have the opportunity to raise questions to make sure that those things are covered somehow.
Well, number one, we never assume.
Right.
Yeah.
So our job is to make sure that we get them to understand that they need to follow those different steps. We
That's
bring it
our
up and
job.
put it into our comments and say, hey, you need to make sure that this is taken care of, this is taken care of, this is
They've
taken
got
care
to do it. They have to,
Okay,
or else they can't.
And they have to address it.
of. Yes, and they have to address it so that we know that they're being taken care of.
okay,
Just like that bridge. That bridge, we've already determined that we feel that it's not capable of handling any significant load. So they need to have their engineers check it out and verify it. And as far as that right of way going in there could be some legal issues with that.
Yeah.
That we need to make sure that they understand that they may have to go a step further in making that private road a public road. So that's what our job is to do.
Right, and although they've applied, we don't know the results and how that
Right.
impacts any of this.
yeah,
Because they don't apparently have that code yet.
But we raise the red flags.
Right,
That they have
exactly.
to, it's all part of a very long, complicated
Process.
process of making sure all the entities communicate to each other. So the DEP, the Conservation District, the township, the county all get an opportunity to make sure that this developer doesn't go through and miss the permit or miss somebody that it affects getting the opportunity to review the project.
and are we typically the final stop?
No.
No.
No,
At the
usually the
beginning,
planning
which is
commission's
they
at the beginning, because like the DEP will not issue an NPDS permit unless it has proof that the county and the municipality were notified that the project is being planned. So we're usually at more of the beginning end of the project, making sure everybody communicates with each other.
And we are putting on record the red flags.
Okay, and are we typically approving it pending DEP's approval, or approving it pending Blair County Planning Commission's approval? Is that, would we give an approval pending those other agencies? Or do we not approve it until those other agencies approve it?
No, we will issue a letter based on what's in the packet. And then, like Nick said, we're raising the red flag here.
Yeah.
So, okay, Annis Township, deal with the bridge. Hey, conservation district, there might be a concern with the water here. Now, that goes through the developer. We don't send individual notifications to every approving agency because we might miss one. So it goes back to their engineer, and the township is actually our client on these. The municipalities are our clients on these. So we will go through, identify the issues, and I haven't heard this for a while, but it used to be said, planning gets to stick its nose in everything. So we look at, see where the issues may be, something that may come up, and it may be something weird. Over the years, you just see some weird things. But generally, it's stormwater, it's transportation, it's how things interact immediately around them. We raise those issues and then let the appropriate agencies deal with whatever permitting or approvals are or are not needed, or whatever conditions they need to put on. We just raise the issues and maybe suggest a path for clearing the issue.
And do we formally vote to approve something, or do we just raise red flags and send?
We don't approve. We have a recommendation level.
We approve the recommendation.
Yeah. So the recommendation goes actually to the township, because in this case, the
Okay,
township
so
is
the
our client.
township ultimately has to.
Yeah, and the township has the ultimate approval in terms of these types of issues, except for things like the specific HOP for PennDOT. The NPDS permit either goes through conservation or DEP. Sometimes there's a stream thing that might involve fish and boat. There might be a wildlife thing that involves the game commission. Like if bats get involved, the game commission gets involved.
So if we came up with the list of red flags, we would send that back to the developer.
Mm-hmm.
Would we also send a copy to the township?
The township gets the letter.
Yeah, okay.
The CC goes to the developer.
I gotcha. Okay.
And we are talking about maybe putting an expectation on the developers that they get in here and stand there instead of us. This is one of the few places I've ever worked where the developer does not participate. It's rare that way, but historically, because you go back a number of years, our review letters said little more than, please make sure you follow the regulations. And there was no real raise of anything. So why are you going to pay an engineer is probably over $100 an hour at this point for his consulting fee to show up at this meeting to get a letter that says, please follow the regulation. He's going to do that already anyway. But now that we're more substantive and we're getting into the nitty gritty, and we actually have people on this board that understand some of that nitty gritty, and these issues are coming up, and we have good staff, but we don't have staff to that level, whereas the engineer that's designing the project should be able to present this. And when we have questions like, hey, where's the stormwater going? He can be the one on the hot seat saying, well, stormwater in this corner of the property is going here, we're dealing with this over here, and we are going to use that new technology and send it all to the reservoir, that kind of thing.
Perhaps one of the things that we have done in the past, is say that we don't have enough information and send it back.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking those questions, though, because I think it's important to show what the actual process is when it comes in and how we look at it. So I think that was all important questions.
And then just one other thing I want to make sure everybody's aware of, because the county's in charge of emergency management, we have been doing a lot of different work with that. The number one emergency management problem issue that we have in Blair County is stormwater problems and flooding. So this is a huge, huge thing, and we really do want to make sure that whoever is responsible is doing the right thing to keep us from all getting flooded out.
Well, not only with that, I mean, you clear all that land, and if you have a pretty good downpour, there's no controls on it. Those people that live along there maybe feel like they're in California with a mudslide.
Right. Yeah, right. That's exactly the
By
point.
the same token, while our job is to be thorough and critical of the project, that doesn't mean we oppose the project.
Right.
Right, so the actual project itself is consistent with our comprehensive plan, which is what we are evaluating it for. However, those red flags that were raised, those are all comments that we can make to supplement the letter that we send them. So while it is consistent with our comprehensive plan, there are still concerns that should be addressed. That's kind of how we put it forward.
And do we ever reject a plan based on its lack of comprehensive strategy?
The easy answer on that is yes. It's rare, but yes.
Oh, well,
That doesn't always stop it.
So did you find stormwater plans?
No,
Okay.
I don't have the actual plan. I have the site plans for the stormwater management, but I don't have the report.
Any more questions on? So you're gonna draft a letter, send them some information.
I'm going to include the additional comments that were made by the board to the comments that were already included by the consultants. Yes.
Given the size of this, I would recommend we put a clause in this letter asking the township to send it back to us once we can see some of these are addressed. This is it. Like I said, this is stormwater wise, transportation wise on some of this. You're looking at another look down center.
well, I think they should send back a letter addressing all our comments, just not some.
Yeah.
Sure, Mr. Brown will apply.
Yeah, he's a good
I think
Any
it's,
additional-
Forgive me if the person's already in this room and I don't know all the names, but
No,
so the township would have potentially an engineer, not likely an employee, but they would pay an engineering firm to
they have
review
an
things
engineering
like this.
firm, yeah.
Do we, as the planning commission, have an engineer
No.
that we have that look at things like this? We don't necessarily need one, because we're ultimately sending them the message that says,
We tell them this needs looked at. If you think of, there's different types of reviews, and this is his analogy. If you're in a helicopter, all right, the closer you get to the ground, the more detail you see. We're at about 10,000 feet with our reviews. The township's going to be down closer to the ground.
okay,
So we can see up here, and we're looking at how this all interacts, and we can see, oh, we got a stormwater issue here. This water's going to go downhill, and watch out, Bellwood, here it comes. We can see that. As you get lower, you might not know Bellwood's over that ridge and that stream's going down there. As you get lower, you get more focused in. So it's kind of our job to do that big overview and point these bigger things out. Now, of course, as you get lower, you don't see the forest for the trees. It's our job to point out the forest.
gotcha.
Tunnel vision.
No, the opposite of it, but yeah.
You'll know. This is what I'm doing to you.
If there are no additional
Code
questions,
13.
Thank you.
we need a motion on the floor.
So moved with the outline stipulations and everything.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor, and properly second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved.
okay, number 9 on your agenda is for Culp Family Dairy LLC expansion. This is along Cove Mountain Road in North Woodbury Township. This is the existing, this is what the existing site looks like, and this is the proposal. So the current site consists of an existing dairy operation consisting of 3 barns, existing milking parlor, driveways, manure storages, and cropland areas. The proposed dairy expansion will include 2 freestall barns, one that are 194 by 796 feet, and one freestall barn that's 127 by 796 feet. Connected with a 40-foot corridor, along with 207-foot by 132-foot holding and sort barn, a milking parlor, milking center, and sand staging barn, manure solid separation building, sand stack pad with 16-foot wide sand settling lane and reception pit, HDPE lined waste storage pond, and 2 calf barns, associated gravel and or paved driveways, and stormwater controls. The 3 proposed freestall barns are sloped from east to west. Animal waste is collected internally with each barn to a collection system that will gravity flow to the proposed concrete sand lane. The concrete sand lane and sand stack pad will then gravity flow the proposed HDPE lined lagoon. These areas are utilized as capture and reuse credits, as any rainfall captured within these areas are contained in the lined waste storage pond, and then land applied per the farm's nutrient management plan. There's lots of information about stormwater management. I have a lot of, conversely to the last plan, I have a lot more technical information about the stormwater management for this one. This development is also over almost a million square feet of impervious surface. So this is the existing 3 freestall barns that are here. And this is the, each building outlined in red is a proposed addition.
Larry, you have something to say?
Yeah, do we have any idea how many cows are, how many cows there are? That gives an idea of the size.
6,000.
6,000.
They're going,
Oh,
have the
okay,
potential
now
to
I know
go
what
to
we're talking
6,000.
about. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be milking around the clock.
That's a lot
Well,
of
they
lot of-
already,
that's a lot of
hands.
they already milk around the clock.
They're my neighbors.
They milk 26, 700 now.
27.
Yeah, okay.
They're right next door to me.
So the farm is an existing dairy and crop farm. It includes existing farm buildings, pasture and crop fields, as well as an existing dwelling. The farm is adjacent to the village of Fredericksburg, which has a mix of residential and commercial uses. The Culp Farm expansion will contribute to the growth and viability of agriculture in the county and region, a priority that's identified in our comprehensive plan. The project will add, as I said, almost 1 million square feet of impervious surface. The application included detailed plans, including infiltration and detention basins for erosion and sedimentation control and post-construction stormwater management. Provided that the measures meet DEP, NPDES, and township stormwater management requirements, these impacts should be mitigated by the provided stormwater management. The only comments really that were pointed out by the consultant were that the large acreage of the farm buffers surrounding areas from visibility and noise impacts. To the south of the proposed freestall barn with the adjacent infiltration basin, there is a neighboring property with a residential dwelling. The Township subdivision and land development ordinance does require a landscape buffer in such situations. The application requested a waiver for buffer requirements on the basis that the surrounding community is accustomed to normal farm operations, and the provision of the landscape buffer does take away from productive farm use. So that was the only waiver that was requested with this.
I would have a disagreement with that waiver. I don't think it's fair to assume that the adjoining property owners would be, willing to just let them decide for them. Linda, you're the adjoining property owner.
No, I'm the other one. That I think that's the person that sold him the ground.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah, that's
It was.
I think they need to contact and get some sort of a document from that adjoining neighbor.
So this land here was, let me see if I can actually, you guys are gonna hate this. I actually think I have this one in Google Earth too. This was a subdivision that we approved, I think last year or the year before. This was the Culp Sollenberger lot merge that.
Okay, where are you? Okay, where's Culp's? There's,
Do you see it?
Yeah, come down.
Come down, right
Top of
there.
the street,
Right here?
top of
I
the
see.
right
street.
there, right there.
So this property here
He's going in the back.
was, this was merged
The neighbor
with,
from over there.
this property here was merged with the Culp farm last year, I believe.
Yes.
As
As
part of-
farm on the right.
And this is the property that is
Yes.
being referred to as needing a light buffer. So this, you know what? That does kind
I
of
believe the project is actually more to the lower left of the screen.
Well, this is the this is where
That's the addition.
this is where the addition's gonna be at, is right on this
here.
piece
I
here.
don't believe so. I think it's to the lower left of the screen.
The way they have it drawn, it's south of your hand, down.
Yeah, yeah.
Right here?
It's
In the,
striped
there's
fields.
a big green field and the
Yeah,
The way the drawing.
Oh, okay.
that's where the project's gonna be.
I own the two bottom ones.
That's not
No, the
Sorry.
two bottom fields.
So this property
That site,
here,
we
the
share that
striped
site.
property, this is the property
And then
that was
there are two houses
merged.
on the ridge. That's mine on the left.
Okay. This here?
Yeah.
Okay. So should I, and I'm guessing then this property here is what was.
That's a little house that I own.
Oh, okay. Is that what they're commenting on for
Yeah, that's where they're commenting on
No,
the
the
buffer.
two houses
Needing a
on the
buffer?
ridge. There's two houses on the
No,
ridge.
if you go back,
Oh,
what
for
she,
crying
what
out
she read, what Mackenzie read was it was.
in the south?
It was the house on the south, it's
Yeah.
that house right there.
Yeah, so they're
That they want
requesting a,
landscape buffer.
yeah, there would be a requested buffer for your property here.
So we're back to you, are you okay with
Uh,
this?
And would you put that on record?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think you
Crying
could.
out loud.
If
I
it's
should've
not
kept my
written
mouth
down, it
shut.
didn't
Yeah, I
happen,
was
now
like,
I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, well, you should never assume that somebody's in
Well, there's
favor of
two
what you're doing.
Forget it.
It's crazy how stuff can come up and
What's the latest date?
They're closer to your property.
Out of curiosity.
Potentially tree line,
Got it.
no. You-
Well, basically still
I-
Out of curiosity, do we know if any of this is in ag preservation?
So,
You don't know who's coming next.
Well, the wind that's
this-
not gonna be her issue.
no, so the actual farm exists in the ag, oh, actually, yeah, this area here, which is
In my yard.
this property here, that is an ag conservation area. But this is a permitted use in an ag conservation area, okay. I was like, just making sure.
Oh,
The reason I say I like it written down, I've seen families pass on, and then the next generation was a little upset with the way things went down. And if it's written down there, there's nothing can be done, so if,
that's how it always
I
is
think
with
that,
farm lanes.
I think that's a recommendation that should be in there.
Absolutely, even if, so the recommendations that we make, obviously, they're just advisory, so they don't have to do anything with them whatsoever, but to make that recommendation and put it on the record, I think that is important.
We did our due diligence. Any other questions on dairy farm? What about all the methane that's going? Okay, I need a motion to accept the Colts family.
So,
We have a motion on the floor, properly second. All in favor, aye?
Alright,
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved.
Okay, number 10 on your agenda, our staff level reviews. These were sent out to you via email in a consent agenda earlier this month. So you should have seen all of these. These are just low-level subdivisions, lot merges, anything that doesn't rise to the level that it needs to be reviewed in front of the entire board and broken down. So these are, like I said, just like minor lot merges, things that are kind of superficial.
The dividing line basically is if the proposal ends up being visible on the landscape, you get the full blown review here. If it's not visible on the landscape, it goes to the staff. So basically lot changes, things like that. That's what we're looking at now.
So if there's no additions or corrections, make a motion to accept them all as,
So moved.
Second,
we have a motion on the floor and second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved.
Okay, number 11 is kind of the same thing. These are for intergovernmental reviews or Metropolitan Clearinghouse. These are also staff level items that were sent out to you via email earlier this month. These tend to be things like permits, grant applications, different things like that. So most of these are applications that were submitted to us for the DEP. And they're just for things like NPDES permits, air quality permits, development permits, things like that. But once again, they were sent out to you earlier this month via email. So if you have any questions on these, let me know.
No questions? I'll entertain a motion to accept the staff level reviews.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor, properly second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Okay, I guess I'll just do number 12 since I'm up here. But number 12 on your agenda is the update for the 2035 Hollidaysburg Comprehensive Plan. Since our last meeting, we have had a workshop with the planning committee for the borough, as well as borough staff, and we are just whittling away at getting that plan finished. And we are hoping that by the end of March, we will be able to put it in front of Borough Council for them to review and comment on. But yeah, it's looking really good. I believe we're having one more workshop the first week of March to get those last comments from the planning committee. But Hollidaysburg has been a great partner in working with us and us working with them. We're really excited for this comp plan, and there has been a lot of momentum behind it, both with the community as well as outside sources who are looking at the comprehensive plan as something that is going to showcase embedded planning for small communities all over the country. So we're really excited for Hollidaysburg's plan. And I don't need any action on this, it's just an update.
Very good.
Is that plan going to address possible future uses of the old prison?
Yes, yep. We've actually had quite a few comments when we were doing our outreach from citizens in the community who specifically wanted to know what was going to happen with it, the decommissioning of it, how they're going to keep the historical aspect of the building if it were to be redeveloped, how to navigate that. So we had a lot of interest in the prison ground, absolutely.
Personally, I think you ought to tear it down and build a parking garage for Hollidaysburg Borough.
We have heard that. That is the number one recommendation I have heard in regard to the prison as well.
Yeah.
Right. If I don't have any questions on the comp plan, I'll just turn it over to Wes.
This item is informational. The State Department of Transportation applied for 2 federal grants, and they asked the Blair Planning and Transportation Planning Board for letters. And one of those grants was for the Altoona Station, train station platform. It'll serve both passenger rail and rail freight service. It'll improve the service for both of those. And there was a grant to prevent rock falls on Route 453 near Birmingham. Those two grants were applied for by PennDOT. The Unified Work Program, that's the work we do for PennDOT. The money comes through, we receive from PennDOT, and that's submitted, was submitted, and it's now on our website, the program itself, in case anyone's interested. Lastly, we submitted local bridge projects to PennDOT District 9, and once we get the feedback, then they'll come back to us, and I'll ask for Blair Planning Transportation Committee to just review projects. And Ben served in that committee last time, and Pat did too. And if someone else would like to serve on that committee, we could use another. So, and the chair could appoint. So, that's it, I guess. If anyone wants to serve, please volunteer.
Thank you, Wes.
Planning director's reports.
Well, given my life experience here last month, I don't have much. We do have the bylaws that need to be updated to reflect the change in how membership is appointed. You have this document in front of you, which has draft written all over it. the primary change is Article 3. Article 3 right now is basically a single paragraph that says there's 3 from the city, 3 from the township, 3 from the boroughs, and they're 4-year terms, and that's pretty much the extent of it. We broke it out to establish the planning regions that we're appointing from, and then keep the 4-year cycle with the 1 bye year in it. And just to clarify, it says the same thing with the exception of the regional appointments. It just writes it in a better way than what's written right now. The other big change, if you want to call it that, is we're going from chairman to president. It's a more generic modern term. So that was put in actually a couple of years ago, and we never adopted it. So that'll go in with this change unless people like the term chairman instead. That's pretty much the set of the changes coming through. That'll be considered. There are 1 representative from each region. This is what we're operating under. 1 representative from each region, with 2 from Region 3, 2 from Region 5 because of the higher number of population. So these get presented at 1 meeting. That's what we're doing here. Take them home, chew on them, consider them. We can talk about them at the next meeting. They can be adopted at the next meeting. Generally what's happened with the bylaws is they get presented. We talk about them at the subsequent meeting, and then it's another meeting after that when they're finally adopted. So I was optimistic with the date on the cover. But that's basically it. It's just basically to formalize what we've been talking about the last 5 years in terms of the membership changes and making it regional instead of by municipal type. That's it.
Thank you, Dave. Mr. Walt.
I just had one question for Mackenzie. You keep referring to the consultant, you mean Jeff?
Yes,
Okay,
Jeff,
I thought so, but I want to make sure.
yeah, that's Stewart Group. They are doing our development,
Right.
our land development reviews.
So he's the one that actually wrote those things.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, that's all I need.
Any question on the announcements up there?
The bylaw changes, are you looking for, to bring that up at the next meeting maybe?
Yes. Yeah, they get presented, then you get to chew on them for a month,
Gotcha.
and then we can adopt them next meeting. Historically, though, we talk about them and then go another meeting in. But this has been talked about for so long at this point, I figure maybe we can get them adopted next month, move on.
So we still do have a vacancy then?
Yeah, we have a vacancy for Region 7. Yeah. So if you want to write something for me for that, I'd appreciate it. Yeah. So if you know anybody in the southwestern corner of the county that'd be interested, that's Tom's old seat. Juniata Township, Freedom Township, Greenfield Township, and Newry Borough. You know somebody out there, a resident, that'd be interested, please let us know.
Did you contact the municipalities?
Yeah.
Okay.
If nobody else has anything to say, the good of the order here, we'll call for adjournment.
Second.
Motion on the floor and seconded. Meeting is adjourned.